thank you for tuning in. You're listening to The Sound Barrier, Northeast State's official podcast, where we'll be breaking the barrier by getting to know some of our faculty, staff, and students. This is your host, Matthew Poole, and joining us today is Ethan Bentley, a sophomore history major. Thank you for being with us today, Ethan.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned, you are the very first student that we are interviewing. So I think this is a great one to start off with. You've accomplished a lot in your young adult life, and I think that needs to be noted in today's episode. So, but to begin with, Ethan, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what brought you to Northeast State?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Elizabeth in Tennessee, so kind of a small area and whatnot. All my life I've been into, say, comic books, movies, and all that. I grew up with old music, like from the 70s, 80s, and all that, thanks to my dad. I was a big history fan, so that's what drew me to pursue that career. And I came to Northeast because that was one of the colleges that they recommended me. Like they said, that might be best for what I wanted to do. And it turned out, yeah, they were right.
Yeah, absolutely. So you did mention that you were a pretty big movie buff. So what are some of your favorite movies?
One of my biggest ones, I like the Indiana Jones films.
Great choice.
Thank you. I'm also a really big fan of the James Bond series. I watched all 24 of those films. Not at once, though, because that'd be crazy.
Yeah, to say the least. That'd be quite the day there.
Yeah. Very. And I'm also a big comedy fan, so I like Mel Brooks movies. I like the Naked Gun trilogy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also love comic books, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite and why?
I like Spider-Man because, I've always liked him because he's one of the few relatable superheroes, I feel. You can see yourself in him, in a way. Mm-hmm. And I think that was, really big. Bring back in the movies, that was big in the original Sam Raimi trilogy. Like, you could feel for the character of Peter Parker and, pretty much relate to him. So I think that's a big appeal to him.
Yeah, I agree. My favorite superhero growing up was Spider-Man. I mean, Peter Parker, I just always grew up, drawing Spider-Man, and I read the comic books as well, and I don't know, in your opinion, who is the real Spider-Man among the movies?
Among the movie? Let's see. Well, I gotta say it's because this always causes a big war between comic book nerds. I say I love all three actors individually. I think they all bring something unique to them. My personal favorite is Tobey Maguire.
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I grew up on him, so I'd have to follow you. You may get a little bit of disagreement there, as you probably already know. So it probably causes a lot of conflict within the community.
I still do.
You also you mentioned you like older music. So who are some of your favorite artists?
Let's see. Well, I like, of course, the Beatles. I like them. Big fan of the Bee Gees. I like Phil Collins. And like I said, my dad introduced me to this music, so that's just something I've always liked.
Yeah. So it sounds like it goes back to your family really getting you involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Does your mom, did she introduce you to that music as well?
She introduced me to a few things. Like I said, it was mostly my dad. It's actually kind of funny. Recently over the years, I've been getting more into older music. And funny enough, my mom's been getting into newer music. So a lot of times our music tastes collides and stuff. I remember one time I tried to bring a Beatles CD into the car. And as soon as I brought it in, she said, before we get on the road, you're not playing the Beatles. And I went, oh, come on, no, it's okay. It's Paul McCartney and Wings.
So it sounds like there's a complete opposites of the spectrum there, and you really went more toward what your dad prefers.
Right, yeah.
Fantastic. So also in your free time, you enjoy dabbling in film and art. You even made a film back in high school. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'd love to. So what that was, it was my senior year of high school. I went to Hampton High School. And what happened was there was a film festival coming up. And the big thing of it was that once the film would be finished, it would be shown at the State Line Drive-In in Elizabethton. So that was very exciting. I remember at the time, they invited some students in, and a bunch of my friends were talking about, oh, well, we can do this. We could do a film about, maybe spending the night in the gym and seeing if we'd see a ghost or something. because that was actually a thing. There was a rumor that there was a ghost in the gym at night. So, just ideas like that. We're throwing around stuff. One idea I had was back in high school, I did the news team. I did it with my friends. And what we did, we kind of made it a little bit fun and I guess comedic. And it worked because we got a lot of views and a lot of people liked it. So my idea was, well, what if we took the news and made it into a film, like do a film about the news team? And everything was going good. Like we had a script ready, we were going for that. Then all of a sudden, due to a number of reasons, a lot of the actors had to drop out. And so I was like, oh, well, crap, what am I going to do now? So then I wrote up this thing for, I called it was like an action comedy. I decided to write it about these two friends who want to be cops later on have to save their friend from an evil organization that's in the school. And so I just kind of threw that together. And it's funny, like I did get some people together, and we had to film during class time. So it was crazy trying to get people out of their class and trying to find whose schedule would line up well. So that was fun in and of itself, but really difficult. And keep in mind that this was it was a very long time or a very short time to go, because we had maybe, I say when we first started, we had like maybe 3 or 2 months before the premiere, so we had to.
Wow, that's a quick time frame you got there.
Very, yeah. So like I said, we got everything rushed. I tried to get everything filmed as fast as I could, and I remember at one point I told people, okay, if you can help, try and bring the same clothes that you wore a certain day. That way we can keep with continuity. Well, it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Screw the continuity. Whatever you wear, we're gonna film it. It doesn't matter. So
you just did what you had to do to get the job accomplished.
Exactly.
Completed, for sure, dude. That's a huge accomplishment to direct and completely collect a film by the time that you graduate high school. I mean, that is something that most people cannot say. So that is outstanding.
Thank you.
And very, very impressive.
Thank you. I do have one more funny story about that. So whenever I was editing and stuff, I remember when I showed it to the teacher that was kind of looking over it, like I was using his equipment and whatnot. He's looking over the film, and there's a couple of like, oh well, we can do this, maybe we shouldn't do this, and some of it was understandable. Like I didn't realize at one point I accidentally shot one of my friend's butt by accident. So I had to cut that out, which is understandable. But then it got to weird stuff. Like at one point he said, "Oh well, you can't say the word heck." I'm sorry. Wait, what? We can't say heck? I've heard on like a SpongeBob cartoon, you're saying we can't say heck? And then it turns out later on when we got to the premiere, I was the only one from Hampton. The rest were Elizabethan films. And it turns out that some of their films had just a little bit of cussing and whatnot. So I'm just sitting there kind of like, oh really? So that they can say that, but we can't say heck. So
yeah, it was okay for them, but not for you. So moving forward, I am curious to hear you chose history as your major. So why did you choose this area of focus?
Well, like I said, I've always liked history. For example, one of my favorite things to talk about when I was younger, I loved talking about the Titanic. That was one of my favorite things to talk about, and I just liked learning about stuff from before, just like what it was like, or just like how it's changed, and just different stuff like that when it comes to that.
And so, have you just always naturally been drawn to history? And
oh yeah. That's always been my favorite. Second was English. Third was science, and then math. Oh, I despised.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone. If any mathematicians are listening, we're very sorry, but I would say, speaking for the both of us, two of us aren't exactly fond of math. I think we can both agree on that.
If you like math, good for you. Keep going for it. I would just
agreed. We need mathematicians, but if you're going to find that in this room, you have to go elsewhere. So, so Ethan, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And what do you hope to have accomplished by then?
In 5 years, I hope to eventually, even if it's not a big one, I just hope to make short films or something. Just trying to film stuff and edit together and then show it to people. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a long film. It could just be like something short, or just I think short films you can do a lot with that too. And it gives you more of a challenge because you can try and film something that's precise and whatnot in a short amount of time, and then everything like that. So
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me. So, turning the page back to your experience at Northeast State, what's been your favorite part about being a student here?
So my favorite part is honestly it's getting to know some of the teachers and whatnot. I've made a lot of friends with them. If I was to just give an example, I made friends with Miss Sloan from the theater department.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She is. Yeah, she's awesome. She taught me a lot of acting tips and whatnot that could really help me out later on. So
For sure. So it's basically a combination of the instructors you've really enjoyed being with or getting to learn from, as well as, hey, the Tennessee Promise program doesn't hurt either. Having
Not
that
all.
free 2 years of tuition is absolutely outstanding. Benefit of being a student here. So to finish us off with, I'm going to kind of go with since you love comic books and big superhero fan, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
that's a good one. Honestly, it sounds cliche, but I think I would probably go with flight. Just to it sure help with traffic and whatnot. So
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. We definitely save a lot in gas, that's for sure. So yeah, I think a lot of people would also choose flight as well. That would be pretty sweet. I would have to agree with that. Well, Ethan, thank you so much for being a part of the Sound Bear. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be a part of us. And I think getting to know you was absolutely amazing. And I can't wait for others to hear your story.
all right, well, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. So.
Absolutely. And listeners, thank you again for tuning in. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're listening from. Check us out at northeaststate.edu and thesoundbarrier.com. We'll talk at you next time as we continue to break the barrier.